What is happening? What's up, brother?
Mr. Kitchens.
Greetings.
Yep.
We're
Greetings.
I feel like we've gone a few rounds battling here early in the year with all the lovely things that the cold weather brings, and obviously, some self-induced things as well. So, man, appreciate you jumping in here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Another episode of the One Big Fire live podcast. Mr. Stasic and myself here for you guys today. And we were chatting quite a bit before we hit go and kind of just getting caught up and the struggles that we're both kind of battling health-wise and really got into the mental side of how to deal with things that are thrown our way, especially when we don't want them thrown our way. And as kind of in your case, out on the month of February getaway and out in the beautiful Lake Tahoe area and pulled a little muscle and being able to how to kind of walk through and deal with that. But I think it correlates into a lot of things going on across the country, and just kind of sharing some conversations with our good friends up north and kind of what they're thinking and what they're feeling. So I think it's super important to always understand, the first characteristic of us as CEOs of our life and our business is it all has to start with the mindset. And I think it's super important to revisit that and revisit some things that we need to be thinking about. Like I had mentioned, it kind of feels not close, not exactly, but there is a little bit of a resemblance of how it felt back in March and April of 20.
I was just going to say that, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We didn't even talk about that, but I was like, that was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, it is. It's wild. So, thinking back to during that time and how important, mindset, really we're to dial things into what's within my control. What am I doing, especially from a leadership perspective? And obviously not being able to lead anybody else till you can lead yourself first. And so I think it's kind of important for us to revisit that and put that back out at the forefront of everybody's mind of, hey, mindset over everything, and it's mindset first. And so, I think your story kind of battling injury correlates perfectly into kind of what's happening day to day and, being able to, where you were at and stuck. I mean, I've been in situations, but dude, this is the reason that I don't like to ski and I don't like to do those things, because getting caught up on that mountain and you get hurt, you're stuck. Right. And so kind of in your situation, man, being able to kind of, go through it. What helps, and I would love for you to expand upon this, is that when we have previous experiences, we can always default back to them, right? So that's why I kind of bring up, it kind of feels like a March, April of 20, but like in your case, you've been injured multiple times. So you're like, okay, I know what this is. I got to go back and put my mindset back through that.
Yeah. So there's a difference between, playing it safe in life and being sensible and trying not to get injured, right? Like nobody wants to get hurt unless you're a sadist or whatever. I guess I don't know if that's the right terminology, but when you run your 100-mile races or any of your big marathon races, you're preparing, and you're preparing so you don't get hurt, but you're not like. If your paranoia or fear was getting hurt, then you wouldn't do it.
Right.
You just wouldn't do it at all, because that's the one guarantee of not getting injured is just not doing it.
Right.
But, I don't like playing life that way. I've never played life that way. Sometimes I ask myself, why do I still play hockey after I tore my rotator cuff? Why do I still snowboard 40 miles an hour down a mountain when if I fall, I can get hurt? And I'm the happiest when I'm doing those things. And, but I know there's risk that comes involved, right? So then what happens when you do get hurt,
Yeah.
Because if you do it long enough, you're going to get hurt. I don't know anybody that's done it and is not like, taking a spill. But I think the more important question becomes, how are you going to, what questions, what conversation are you're gonna allow to start just reverberating in your brain when that happens? Because
Yeah.
I can tell you where my mind goes immediately is I get angry. I
Yeah.
get mad at myself. I start saying, damn it, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. In this case, when I reflected back, literally within hours after the ski patrol took me down the mountain, I caught an edge. Long story short, I know I told you, but I just caught an edge. I wasn't doing anything stupid. We found actually the snow sucked for the most of that day. And we finally found a run that the snow was good. It was just perfect. And we weren't going crazy or anything like that. I was in a great rhythm and I caught an edge. My snowboard then stuck into the snow pretty deep, but my body wasn't done falling down the mountain. So it hyperextended, pulled the thing. And so, I'm not happy at the moment. And I'm thinking, Jesus. And so what reverberated back to me is that, okay, I wasn't doing anything really stupid. So I can't beat myself up. I always want to beat myself up and say, what should I have done differently? Right.
Right.
And I read an awesome book on the way out here. I'll find the name of it, but like in just detaching from that and letting that go has been a big challenge for me forever. And I've been practicing it. And when I hurt my shoulder, I did the same thing. I said, you know what? Just take this on. This is just God giving me a challenge, right? He's just like, okay, things were just going too smooth. Here, let me throw this one at you, see how you deal with it. And
Yeah.
I think I like challenges. I like, frankly, people challenging me, telling me that, I don't think you can do it or whatever. I've always thrived on that, fortunately or unfortunately. I don't know. It just is what it is. So with this particular, injury, I just thought to myself, there's so many people that aren't injured like this because they never have a chance to do what I was just doing in a beautiful town of Lake Tahoe and surrounded by one of the most beautiful lakes I've ever seen. I'm looking at it right now. It's stunning. It truly is heavenly, even though I wasn't skiing heavenly at the time when this happened. So, yeah, dude, I just said, this is just another challenge. And I'm not trying to go real religious or anything, but this is God just saying, all right, man, how are you going to handle this one?
Yeah.
And it really changed my mindset immediately. Like, I don't have any control over the fact that I got hurt. I'm hurt. Now I have control over what I'll do to try to heal quicker. And I also have control over what happens between the ears, how I think about, about my current situation, how I'm going to think about how I'm going to get around. And you can talk to yourself two different ways. And I just made a choice that I was going to, be happy and grateful and stay in gratitude. And that's really kind of what got me through the last injury. It's what's getting me through this one.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's what kind of we were talking about before is that, in real estate, there are things that we can control. And then there's everything else that we have zero control over. We had zero control over the NAR settlement thing. None. We just kind of sit back, wait and see how it all
See what the
shakes
rules
out.
change out to. Yeah.
We can't control supply and demand. We have no control over that. But we have control over, how we strategize, how we analyze the current situation, how we move forward, how we wake up every single morning and tackle it. And you can either be a victim or you can choose to be a superhero and like, hey, lead, because no one wants to follow a victim.
No. Victims only communicate with other victims. That's it.
Right. So that's just kind of how I decided to tackle this particular situation. Was I decided to tackle it between my ears, excuse me, and just try to stay in that positive mindset. And I think with real estate, it's hard to do. It's hard when you get knocked down and you're out here for a month and you're like, oh well, my snowboarding's done for the season. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
That really, really sucks, right? And it's hard when something, but it's happened, it's done. So the question is, how do we move forward? How do you move forward in your real estate business? Literally, I had a call this morning. I'm not working, by the way. I still have my calls and a young lady was in my calendar, first call of the day. She's actually with EXP, and she's like, I haven't had a closing since November.
Yeah.
I'm driving Lyft to pay my bills. And we had the call. I'm not going to get into the weeds of it, but she has a traffic lead generation top of funnel problem. Period. That's what it is. She's got coaching in place, this and that. She's got a top of a funnel problem, and when you can identify that, okay, that's the problem. Now, what are all the ways that we solve that problem and then attack those? That's the best advice I could give somebody who's struggling is that block out the noise, because you have no control over most of 99% of all the chatter that's going on around you. It's just a distraction. The politics, it's a distraction. All this. Focus on one thing. You need clients. Those clients have to come from an audience. It goes back to, do I have a marketing funnel set up that's going to attract those people into my world, or do I not? And most just don't.
Mm-mm.
So it's not the best realtor that's going to win. It's always the best marketer. We've known that. And now with some of the changes that they're about to announce at EXP Realty, it's not the best recruiter that's going to win. It's the best marketer that's going to win. And that's a whole nother topic. I'll just tease that out a little bit. There's some really good stuff coming down the pipe.
Yeah, it is. And I think, it's super important, like you said, from a gratitude perspective. I mean, that's just so important to always operate within that, having some type of mindfulness practice, some type of gratitude practice on a daily, consistent basis. And it's so important. And it's one of those things, it has to become a habit. It's got to be instilled in times of greatness and times of struggle. It's always something there that you fall back to. And, I started doing it ever since Stuman shared that with us in, I think, where were we at? Cincinnati, before we went to the Derby, when he was there, and he was talking about, the first thing in the morning, right? Using Evernote or using notes, and just the first 5, 6, 7 things that you're the most grateful for as soon as you wake up in the morning. And, it's one of those practices that I've been able to stay super consistent with ever since then. And it's not the thing that has helped me mentally, but it is one of the things that has helped me mentally. And then some type of mindfulness practice. I shared it the other day on my story. I think I just hit 38,000 minutes on the Headspace app, which is just wild to even think about. But, and so I know those things, they compound on each other, and they really help from a mental side of things, but also knowing that we're capable of working through challenging and difficult things. And that's where, we're more than capable than what we even know and what we think, and being able to go through it. And I think surrounding yourself with people that don't allow you to be victims, just kind of joking, but victims only hang out with other victims. So if you start to see that and you're like, oh shit, I got this victim that's coming to me all the time. Am I being a victim? I need to change or get away from these people, is super important. And I think it's just putting in those daily practices of doing the things within your control to be able to handle any situation that comes your way. And I just finished, if you haven't gone through it, Al, I've talked about it a little bit. I finally finished it, but it's the Inner Excellence book by Jim Murphy. It's the one that, thank you, the NFL, for, catching AJ Brown on the sidelines, reading the book during a football game. And it was funny that the coaches were laughing, they're like, this is what week 14, week 15 of the NFL season when they caught him, and the coaches were laughing like, you're just now catching him. He's been doing it all season. And this book was written, I think, the 2008, 2009, maybe 2011. It was the updated version. But so it's been around. I'd be curious to see what his book sales are since they caught AJ Brown and to where it is.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. It is really all about the inner game that we've been talking about for over a decade. And no matter what we do on the outside doesn't matter until we nail the inner side of things. And what his whole foundation is love. So he has 3 pillars. The first foundational pillar is love, but it's unconditional love. And it's unconditional love for the thing. And so it's like you said, the best marketer, but it's just like, I'm becoming the best marketer because I love to be the best marketer, and I'm just obsessed with it. And I'm not doing it it's unconditional, meaning I'm doing it because I love it. And I'm not doing it for a trade-off. I'm not doing it because I'm going to get something in return.
For a result. Yeah.
And that's perfect with our relationships. That's perfect in everything. And you look at kind of even Kobe and MJ, they loved to practice. They just loved the process.
Yeah.
And so that was just that was just an unconditional
they were
thing.
Obsessed with that process.
Correct. And
Yep.
that's where you have to look at, right? So even go back into our business and what you were talking about, right? Top of funnel, right? So traffic, offer, that's the first part of the process. And then, now you got to convert it, then you got to fulfill on it, and then you got to maintain retention with it. And it's just understanding that conveyor belt. What I really love in here too, Al, that he breaks down, that's the first pillar. The second pillar is wisdom, right? So being able to expand your vision. What is the purpose? Why are you even in this game? Why are you doing what you do? And then the third pillar is courage, to be fully present in the moment. And that takes courage to stay in the moment, to stay present. And one of the things that he really breaks down that I really love, and I talk a lot about, and we've gone through it, is the whole results framework. And, result is driven by our behavior, our habits, the actions we take or we don't take will be the results. But that's driven by how we feel. How we feel is driven by what we think and what we believe. And what we think and we believe is driven from circumstance and environment. And so he goes way deep on all of that, which is really cool. And, one of the most powerful books for me, and I remember where I read it at, I read it at Tanglewood in 2010, 2011 timeframe, about the time, this was before I had moved to Frisco, but got reconnected back with Kinder. And I remember Reese, me, Kinder, I forget, there were a couple other folks there. And I just remember sitting there reading The Power of Full Engagement by Tony Shorts. That was one of the most powerful books for me, because it talked about how important the four equities of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual have to be all aligned and at top performance for us to perform at our absolute best. And he in the book, man, he breaks it all down in all of those. So I highly recommend it. In fact, this is the book I'm actually going to give to everybody at KT next month. Inner Excellence, Jim Murphy. I can't say enough about it. It is absolutely powerful.
Yeah. How do people get information on KT? Are there any spots still available?
We do. We're going to Sarasota. We've got limited seating. I think we're about we're about 10 seats left. So it's seat at thekitchentable.com, or you can just message me in any way and be able to get there. So we're in Sarasota at the end of March, and then we'll be back up in Pittsburgh in June, at the end of June. And then we'll be back down in Florida in at the end of the year. And I'm hoping we're bringing Agent to CEO back to Cleveland in September.
Oh yeah. We're working on right now, the main act. We have it narrowed down to a couple artists, and I always struggle if I have a couple options as to what direction to go. But we're gonna have another good one, and we absolutely are planning on Agent to CEO for sure. We're just trying to nail down the date with the artist, and then backfill everything else from there.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So I read a couple books on the way out to Tahoe. One of them that kind of sparked the conversation that I guess is it's this book called the Courage to Be Disliked.
Is an instantaneous.
Yeah, The Courage to Be Disliked. Who is this? It's an interesting book because it's kind of read like two conversations, like two people talking to each other, which is kind of cool. It's not my favorite format, I suppose, because the kid, the whoever's reading in the part of the kid, and you have like the teacher and the student, whoever the student is, he's kind of annoying. But beyond that, in looking for the lesson is really what I think a lot of, and this is taught too, by the way, what's taught is there's things that have happened in your past that are forming everything that you do today, which is true to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I think where a lot of people take that concept is then they just say, well, it's not my fault. It's what happened over here is why I'm here. well, this is what happened in my childhood. Is why I act or behave this way. And the one, and I haven't finished it, but the one concept that's just sticking is that no, it's not that. It's the meaning you're giving to that thing that happened back then. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe you had a bad relationship. Okay, maybe you're divorced. Maybe your spouse, didn't treat you right, or deceived you, or whatever it is, and you feel burnt. You feel, maybe when you think back to it, you feel angry at how that situation panned out, and you haven't let that go. You haven't forgiven them. You're giving them a false meaning to the whole thing, right? Like and that's how you stay in victim mode, truly, right?
Yeah.
Because you're giving the wrong meaning to that. What other meaning could you get to it because of that event? Maybe it was awful, but what great came of that? What great came of that would have never happened had that event not happened? And so, that was the big thing. Like, when I was reading through that is I go right to here thinking, okay, what good is going to come of this? And it's all about the meaning we give to those things.
Yeah.
What meaning, we just went through a huge election, right? Now all of a sudden there's this shitstorm going on everywhere. What meaning are you attaching? I mean, one of the cool things about being out here is I don't watch the news, and it's a beautiful thing to not get sucked into the news and the media. When you detach from it for a while, you see how bad it is. And I'm not talking one side or the other. Both are just, it's a toxic environment when you think of it. And so when you can detach from that what toxic environment are you in right now that you have full control over whether you're going to do it? You have full control. My buddy over here from last night, he is a TikTok addict. He just can't stop watching TikToks. He could watch TikToks for hours, and it just sucks him in. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but like, what are those TikToks you're getting sucked into? Are they educational? Are they teaching you something? Are they making you a better human being? Are they making you a better husband or a better wife? Okay, cool. I guess you can get sucked down that, but you have a choice.
Yeah.
Because whatever you're choosing to put into your brain is that environment so strong that it could suck you into from being in a pretty good situation to like, oh God, this is awful. What meaning are you giving?
Important.
You mentioned our friends up north, and congratulations, by the way, to Team Canada for pulling that win out on the ice in Boston in a hostile environment.
I know. I was texting B-Town right before and everything. I was like, man, what's going to happen? He goes, bro, I don't know. He goes, this is so cool. He goes, both teams are so good. Like, it could come down. I said, man, I hope it's just a good match and it goes like it's tight. Of course it was, right? It went all the way, 8 minutes into overtime.
But, just because of the political climate now that's transforming, and, when you got to go in and fix a lot of wrongs, it's going to be ugly for a minute. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
So it's another good opportunity to control your mindset and what meaning are you going to give to all of this?
Yeah.
First thing I'd tell you is, and many of you are going to watch this on Facebook, spend less time on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like, like, it is toxic, dude. Every time I'm here, I open it up. The first thing I see is some negative political post, and it doesn't matter left, right, whatever. And I literally just have to close it down because I'm like, they're just trying to bait me and suck me into some bullshit that's not going to have any, like, I have a job to do. My job's to help agents. I have a pipeline. My job's to move them from here to here so I can help them. That's my job. And I enjoy it thoroughly. And if I just focus on that, I'm a happy person.
What's kind of cool with, especially kind of with the news. I don't know if you're on the vtnews.ai on the valuetainment news feed. It's really kind of curated to basically what you want to see. And what I love about they put it out there and it's unbiased. It's like, who's pushing this narrative, which one way or the other. But it's really cool.
Check it out. I can't believe I haven't checked it out yet.
So what I love is I don't go on there. I get an email at the end of every day on these are the top posts that might be of interest to you. And so I just open it, look at it, go through as if there's anything kind of cool to be able to kind of see, kind of stay informed what's going on. Out 5 minutes. That's it. I feel like I'm kind of up to date, kind of what's going on. And then I'm on about but that takes like what you're talking about is like putting up boundaries to kind of curate what you want to allow in and what you don't, right? It's just like your diet, right? Like what, you're getting enough nutrients, you get enough water, you get enough, of the healthy macros, or you avoiding the things that are not going to serve you. It's the same thing with our mind, right? Being able to put in the things that are really going to serve us. And it's so important right now, because what happens, and this goes back, this is why I said it kind of feels like March, April of 20, is that it's got everybody paralyzed.
Yeah.
And in a state of inaction, right? So it's the fight, flight, or freeze is in effect. And I think for most, they're froze. And so the conversation that I was having this morning was like, listen, you have a lot of eyeballs on you, and they're looking for your inspiration. They're looking for direction. They're looking for leadership. Yes. I said, this is the opportunity for us to step out and lead by example. I said, some things you can say, some things you just need to do. And that's really where I'm reminding myself, but having a lot of conversations that like, listen, people are looking for you. They're looking for that leadership, and it's time for you to step up and lead.
I love it, dude. Well, I think that's the lesson in the box right there. No, we can leave it right there. We appreciate everybody. By the way, I was mentioning to you, we have a new intro we're about to start working on, and I don't want to let the whole cat out of the bag, but I'll let a whisker out of the bag. And let's just say I'm working with one of our favorite country singers, Dusty Black, and one of his best writers to put something fun together.
God, I can't wait to see that. That's
yeah. Well, or hear it,
Yeah.
But yeah, it certainly ain't going to be me singing it. It's going to be cool, man. It's going to we got some fun stuff.
DB run with it.
We have some really great. We have some new merch that's about to be launched as well. Honey Badger Nation. I don't even have it yet. It's still coming out, but we got a couple lines that Allison has been working on, and we've had the same kind of logo for a long time. We got some One Big Fire. We have a One Big Fire line that we're about to launch, and we have a Honey Badger, just the emblem itself, coming out too on some merch. So look out for that. And man, we'll see you at the top.
Always, man. Brother, appreciate you. Have fun on that mountain. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time. See you.